good morning to you. So we are now on part 5. Good grief. This started out as one video and turned itself right on into 5 videos. So that's a whole lot of fun. Anyway, so this is now, and I don't even have my microphone on. This is now part 5 of how to quit your job and never look back, right? That's my main goal for all of you guys, is to just not have to be able to work the 9-to-5 job, not in a way that's like, let's all be billionaires, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying we don't have to work the 9-to-5 jobs. We don't have to be away from our family. We don't have to do what the rest of the world does. We just don't. And we is the royal we. I don't mean just like, me and my family. I mean like you guys. You don't have to do that either, And so that's why I've been going into these videos kind of so like in depth, is because I want you to understand the thoughts, the conclusions, the circumstances, and how you even work through the circumstances around actually leaving your job and what it looks like. Because it's not, there will be people that will say it's going to be, rainbows and unicorns, right? They're going to say it's going to be easy and you just never, you never even think about going back to your job and da-da-da-da-da, right? I could say that, but that would be 100% a lie, because there are moments where you're like, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I, can I do this? And that's where it's important to make sure that you're surrounded by people that A, know you can do it, but B, know you can do it because you're working a templated system that just plain works. That it doesn't matter like what your skill set is. It doesn't matter if you've ever tried to do this before. It doesn't matter if you've tried and failed. None of that stuff matters when you have a templated system. I usually talk about it kind of like a frozen pizza, right? The directions on the back of a frozen pizza is a templated system. That's, if you heat the oven up to where it says you need to heat it up, actually preheat it. Don't stick your pizza in first before it's preheated. I am one of those. But if you follow the templated instructions, everybody's going to end up with the same situation. Everybody's going to end up with the same cooked pizza, right? And so when you have a system like that, there's no reason for you to fail. The only thing that would potentially happen in that is that you would potentially change course or decide that you want to do something else with this system, that you want to take it another direction instead, which is totally fine. And that's why I went into, in earlier videos, how I've even done that throughout my own career. I started out doing one thing, I went over to another thing, went to a third thing, and all the while honing in on how I can be able to be of utmost service to my people, right? And so like that's, if you're ever like, what is HBR anyway? That's what it is. I literally teach you how to do what we've done ourselves, which is creating multiple income streams from home using what we already knew and like what we had already gone through and what we had already figured out, that's what it is. And everybody has that. And it doesn't always need to be biz op or business opportunity. Sometimes it's, I use this example a lot, but it's like a gluten-free mom. It's a mom that had to go gluten-free, had to figure it out. And now she's got kind of the cheat code, to how to be able to show other folks how to do it. And that's, you build community around that. That's real. It's very real. Anybody that you follow has this same template. They just usually what happens is influencers will message me after they see me talk in something or whatever, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I do exactly that. I didn't realize that's what I was doing. And I'm like, right, this is what people do. This is how you do it. It's just that I did it, and I also know how to teach really well. And so I did it, and then I was like, oh, well, here's how we document it, and then here's how we teach it. It's the same thing everybody does. All the people that you follow, all the people that you buy their courses, you buy their books, you join their communities, they're all doing the same thing, okay? They're doing this. So if you want to figure out how to do this in your world, we show you how to figure that out and then how to be able to set it up. Boom, that's it. The next, just so you know, the next HBR starts in May. Okay, so if you want to message me, we've got payment plan options available that aren't usually available. So you can go ahead and message me and we can get you set up on one of those. But it starts in May, so you can start getting yourself ready for it. But if you join, you can't join after May, right? You would have to wait for the further one or the one that's further down the line. But if you join right before May, you have to pay full price because it needs to be paid off before you start. Okay, just to be super clear. Okay, so now let me get into, I didn't mean to go that far into that, but now I want to get into the day 5 content. And the day 5 content is really, it's kind of what's going to happen for the rest of your life. And it's going to be, you know, you start doing this thing, whatever that thing is. And then what you're going to do is you're going to bob and weave for the rest of your life. And what does bobbing and weaving mean? And what does it look like, right? So what bobbing and weaving in the way that I talk about it here, I got it from like a boxing reference, right? So you bob and you weave to not catch the hits. But bobbing and weaving mean, in this instance, mean that as time goes on, you start to find yourself gravitating to serving in new and different ways, okay? So you start out in one way. A lot of times, here's what happens is when you start out in one way, it's sort of more of a broad or a general way, and you're like, I want to do this. So I work with a lot of network marketers, and they'll say like, I help people in health and wellness. And I'm like, whoa, that is broad. Because it's like, whoa, there's not one person on the planet that'll be like, I need help with health and wellness. It needs to be more specific than that. But anyway, so it'll usually start out kind of broad. And then what you'll do is you'll start keying in and you'll start honing in on specific ways that you want to serve, right? Whether that's the specific person or the specific way that you want to serve that person, okay? And it could be one or two, it could be one or both of those things. And so whenever you decide how you want to more specifically help that person, what you're going to do is over time, it's going to get more specific and it's going to get better, or it's going to branch out into something else, okay? And like I've said before in videos, is if and when it branches out into something else, what I want you to know, and I want you to hear me today, and if you need to put this video on repeat later on in your life when this actually happens, don't think that the branching out means that you're not staying true to your calling, or that you're not seeing it through, seeing that original call through, or whatever. If you're branching out, if you're being called to branch out into something else, move into something else, right? Because that's what, if you stay here, but you're being called over here, you're going to be ineffective right here. You may stay you may stay the course, and you may be, finishing what you started. A lot of people put a lot of emphasis on finishing what you started. Me, I don't. I go where I'm needed over finishing what I started. Does that make sense? I go where I'm needed over, like going where I'm needed goes over finishing what I started. It's an important concept to understand, because if you're afraid to go over here because you started here and you need to see it through and you need to finish it out, it could be to not just your detriment, but your people's. Because if you're being called over here, you're being called over here for a reason. You need to follow that call. Okay? It's a very, very real thing. It's happened to me. I don't even have enough fingers or toes to talk. Well, maybe toes, but I don't have enough fingers to say how many times I've been called away from what I thought I was going to do. But when you get called away from it, it's for a purpose. It's for a reason. Okay. So it's, yeah, Michelle just said permission to pivot. It's exactly that. It's what I want you guys to understand that, and this is the reason I'm saying it like so many times to you right now is because as heart-centered individuals, we place a lot of emphasis on seeing things through. It's like an inherent thing for us. And it might be a people-pleasing thing for us. But we put a lot of value on it regardless of where it comes from. Okay? And so we will sit here and see this thing through to our own and our people's detriment. And so whenever that happens, know that there's something for you down that road. When you're being called over here, go over there. There's something for you down that road. And sometimes this road leads to nowhere. But you needed to be on this road in order to pick up some people there. You needed to be on this road in order to learn some skills. You needed to be on this road in order for things to happen to you that you will take over into this new path and make you a more dynamic, complete person. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's not that this was never valuable. It's that our ability to move and be dynamic, that's more valuable. Okay. And so this is a very, like, for a Monday, this is a very high level conversation that we're having here. But I want you to start out your week really thinking about, is where I'm at right now because I want to finish the race that I started, or is where I'm at right now because I'm called to this field, because I'm called to be here, right? And it's okay. If you're called to be there, you're called to be there. But if you're called to be somewhere else and you're staying here to finish it, that's where you need to examine. All right. So anyway, this is day 5. So this is the complete, set of 5 days of one video is what it is. But anyway, you guys have the absolute best day ever. I will see you guys later. Adios.